southern people, like a small town, nothing's real. Mama's still doing wrong, don't tell the preacher. Nothing really changes except the weather. If you can't say something nice, you don't say nothing at all. Don't want you up in my life, 'cause you talk too much. I could leave it all, I'm feeling low. Find myself on a brand new road. If you can't say something nice, you don't say nothing at all. Don't want you up in my life, 'cause you talk too much, y'all. Gotta go to church on Sunday, get a dose of the Southern truth. Grandma's house is just down the way, and she's missing you.
Oh yeah, happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, Dave the AM, aka the Cornbread Man. Hope you are doing well. Sorry, I had an earlier start time listed, had to bump that, had to go to the parts store. You know, those things happen. And took a little bit longer than I thought. But we got her done. So glad to be on with you. Saturday talk, it's just chit chat. No real agenda. I'm going to talk over a few things. I like Saturdays to be light. I do dive into some things sometimes, but I like the news and cold brews there on Instagram. I like that name, Killer. Yes, we've had a good week of shows, and into last night. I'm sorry I missed Dog Tag and asked if I wanted to come up, but I didn't see the message until later. Actually, this morning, he messaged my messenger on Facebook. And I said, man, you got an open invitation to come up. For those that don't know, Dog Tag, as he's known on the trail, is walking up the Appalachian Trail carrying the dog tags or tags that are symbolizing the dog tags of soldiers and first responders who have taken their lives. And he's bringing awareness to that. And he's had some health issues, but he's doing good. And he's a friend of the show, always will be. I mean, what's a friend? It's like, it's like the mafia, man. When you're in, you're in. You can't get out. So, just kidding. But I hope you're doing well. Looks like it's going to be a hot day here in the southeast. Maybe hit 97. It's going to be roasty, but that's okay. Saw a picture. They were showing a picture of Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend as they were trying to make a plane. He's all sweaty. I don't know why that's news. Like, who cares? I know they're trying to bring an analogy to the fact that he's like old dude and she's 24, It's their life. Leave them alone. You know what I mean? I really don't care. I guess some people do. I don't care. You know, if Mick Jagger wants to have a baby at 85 or whatever it is, I don't care. That's none of your business, as they say. I don't care. It's kind of funny sometimes, but it's just leave people alone. Let them, let them live life. Unless you're the Iranian leadership, then you're on the run. We are going to concern ourselves with your lives and the potential that you won't be alive much longer. News is this morning the B2s are on the move. They're ready to go into action. So a lot of rumors today. They had as they pulled out, as they loaded up and went on the road trip, that they had to stop and refuel. That means that they're theorizing that means they were loaded down with the bunker busters, ready to take action. So they can't fuel all the way up, but it'd be too heavy. You know, 2 15-ton bunker buster bombs may be loaded on the stealth bombers. Both those things are menacing too. You know that they just gotta hate the way that looks. These B2s are in the sky. It's like a wicked Batman flying around, ready to drop the warhead on your forehead, or at least on your nuclear reactor. Um, you know, I still think they're trying to bring diplomacy, but Israel's not going to stop. I do believe special forces are probably on the ground. They're getting ready to go into. They know they've got to take out Fordow, and so it's on like Donkey Kong, and it's going to be on. But they left Watman Air Force Base in Missouri and had to refuel. A lot of refueling planes. Excuse me. They might be called an airship. A lot of refueling planes on the move too. Multiple refuels needed for these and other from the distance that some of these aircraft are going to have to fly from to safely deliver the payload. Be multiple refuels in the air, which can be tricky. It can be tricky. They make these things look easy. It's not as easy as it sounds. You know, we've all seen the video of the fuel arm coming out, and they have that port on top of the plane that opens up and it goes in there. But just think of the turbulence and the precision that these guys and gals have to maintain where the position while this fuel is being transferred. It's very dangerous. They just make it seem easy. That's not easy. There's a lot of variables, and they're trained for that. But still, that's not an easy thing to be able to do. I have great respect for that. I mean, some people can't even fuel their car right. I mean, they stand in front of the pump, the cigarette, cell phone out. And some people just don't understand. Little fires, explosions start. Some people can't find where to fuel their car up. They don't know. They buy a new car. The one question they should have asked the dealer, where do you fuel this thing up at? They run the full tank down, the complimentary. It's not really complimentary. It's all figured in. But, it sounds good. We're going to fill your tank up for you. Oh, you're paying for that. It's complimentary. Anyway, they give you your full tank. You go down the road. Oh, we better get gas. Fuel lights on. I can't find I've seen it. I've helped people before. I mean, the first time they started putting them behind the license plate. These poor people, they'd looked all over the car. They're about ready to take the car back. If it had enough gas, I think they would. They said, we just bought this car. We've looked all over the place. I don't think it's got it. The guy was frustrated. He said, I don't think it's got a gas. I just don't think it's got it. I think they sold me a car without a fuel tank. I was like, come on, man. How'd they fill it up? Well, I don't know, but I can't find it. And I've been looking at cars my whole life. I said, I think it's right there. I said, I've not owned one of them cars, but I kind of think it's right there behind that tag. He goes, oh, come on. And I said, well, just go pull on it. He pulled on it, came down. He said, well, I'll declare. That's a good way we talk in the South. I'll declare. He said, that's the one place I didn't look. Oh, they just sit there. They had a good laugh about it. It was over. I don't know. They said they'd been there about a half hour. I don't know why anybody didn't help them before that. He said, I pulled on everything on this car, pushed, pulled. They didn't even think about getting the owner's manual out. They just stubborn. But the B2 and others like it, they have that port, they have to line up with that rod that's transferring the fuel. I'm not sure how long that process takes. It seems like it would take. It's not a NASCAR pit stop. They don't have the guy up there with the tank forcing it in, holding it up in his shoulder. Got the catch can. No, they just lower the boom, so to speak, the boom arm, and then they have to marry those two together in the air, flying at whatever speed they are. I'm sure they have set speeds they try to get to. Pretty amazing. Keep those things flying. I wonder if they've ever pushed like some guy said, we'll go a little bit further. That's what guys do, all right, we're good for another 50 miles, 100 miles, whatever. I'll get on down the road. I wonder if our pilot's ever done that. Negatory, we're going to fly. We'll meet you at the next point, Then they have some trouble and the thing's starting to, as we say, run on fumes. No, not a good idea. I just wonder if that's ever happened. You would think that somebody'd be on the line saying, fuel now. There's always a cowboy in the group. I just wonder if somebody's ever did that. That would be funny. The crew's like, come on, B2. You can make it another, 100 miles here or mile, 50 feet. Come on. And you hear the fuel coming in. You're like, oh, good. We can now make it to the next point. Some of those trips have multiple fuel deliveries depending on how far they're coming. It's just amazing. It really is. I just can't imagine it. Hello, Anthony. How you doing this fine Saturday morning? I hope you are well. Appreciate you been coming in the chats and bringing things. And on a sports note, what about this girl? I wish I could remember her name. I hate to say that like that. I'm trying to think of. Let's see if I can find that. I think I had it. The girl that's playing the heavy for Caitlin Clark. She's becoming a favorite really quick. What is her name? Oh, I've done moved off the story now. Anyway, if you know it, pop it in. She took the girl down that played the heavy on Caitlin. They played that thing over and over again. She's over there laughing about it. Like, yeah, bring it on. Oh, then a friend of mine, he posted that is a meme, a joke that they had hired this guy, crazy name, huge beefy guy that's dressed up as a girl to play only when Caitlin gets hit, that they come in. Like that's their only job, to take out the bad girl. Oh, Anthony, Dave, in college football, I saw the teams who are the most delusional fan bases who haven't won a championship in 20 years or even more that brag like they've won a championship recently. Outside of the obvious. 20 years, I'd have to think about who hasn't won in 20 years, but I know one team that we up here in the SEC always talk about, and of course the fans will get mad when I say it, but it's every year. It seems like not all of them, but there are many of them that it's Tennessee. They really believe that every year this is the year, and there is a portion of that fan base that is delusional, that thinks this is going to be the year we're going to do it. That's another one. You said the Gators, and yeah, they have struggled to get it back, and that would be the other one that I would mention. That, I mean, there's always the hope, right? I mean, everybody has hope, but the illusion that this is going to be the year. They just, I don't know. It's really kind of funny to sit back and watch. For a long time, it was Georgia. But Tennessee is definitely I'm up here close to. I mean, there's a big fan base here, and even their own fans will say, "I wish those Tennessee fans would shut up." The people that you talk to that really are fans who study their team, you can sit down and have reasoned discussion. They will tell you that it's like any team. If this goes right, this goes right. It's a lot of ifs and buts. We could have a really good year. They won't say championship, but let Tennessee go 4-0 or 5-0, and that amount of fans always shows up and says, "We're kicking your butt this year. You're going down. We're going to win it all." And then you can't find them when they lose. And they're the type of fans that the flags come down, they won't wear the clothing anymore and stuff like that. No, that was T. Martin. T. Martin, the year after he left, 1998, I believe that was. They won it all, and I don't think so on that other one either. Got to go back in my brain, but I don't think so. That was during the years of Florida was really strong during those times. Alabama, you know. So yeah, it's really amazing the fall that the Gators have had with all the talent that they've had. I think they're ready for a turnaround. I won't say championship, but they're going to be really strong. This is the year that Billy Boy has to get it done, at least to a step forward, a big step forward. I think he's probably looking for a job. And from all indications, I mean, he's a local guy. He's a good guy. He plays with fire, and he's a good coach. It just hasn't worked out. But he has the team to get it done. And yes, that's right. They do have a guy though that has amazing talent. If that's the key word, consistent. He has to have consistent play. Truth. It all starts there. That's why they get the big bucks. You have to have that guy. You absolutely have to have that guy. He is, he's the general. He's the field general. He's the one getting the team in position. He's the one that's, changing in and out of plays. He's the one that doesn't hurt his team, knows when to take the sack or just take off and run and get 2 or 3 yards. He doesn't try to overplay his, throw it into danger every time. I mean, remember when Florida used to be 4 or 5 deep at quarterback. I mean, top flight quarterbacks every year under Spurrier. And I remember, it was a lot of pressure. And if you just threw a ball up and it got intercepted, your butt went to the bench. He'd bring in the other guy for a few series, and he didn't care. He's like, "You're not doing that here." And they still, like a Werfel, they still took chances, but it usually panned out more than it did. But he got on all of them. It didn't matter who you were. So, yeah. To me is what I don't like about putting pressure in one position. No, the truth, too. Yeah, you got to have the team around them. Absolutely got to have that. Yes. And when you think back, it's pretty amazing that Tennessee didn't. Because obviously legit play. They had the receivers. They had really good running backs. A decent offensive line. Some of those were all SEC. There was, sometimes they were. He wasn't always protected, being Peyton. But yeah, it was the defense that was letting them down at times. But in that big game against Florida, I mean, it was always the Florida game that tripped Tennessee up anyway. And I remember that one game where Tennessee went up big on them, and the defense had been shutting them down. It wasn't the defense that put them in harm's way. It was the offense. They were 2 fumbles. In the second half, that was that game where it was like 31-3 at halftime or something. And Florida come back and won it like 35-31 or something like that. But the running back had 2 fumbles. I think Peyton may have had an interception in that game. They were just giving away points, and they got them back in the game, and then the pressure got on them, and they didn't perform. And It was meltdown city, and so that was a year that they were expected to do very well. You know, but yeah, sometimes the timing is everything. You just don't, and sometimes you select the wrong guy too. Georgia lost out on a really good running back to Tennessee. They recruited him right out of Georgia, and he tore it up there. And Georgia selected a guy, and he was a good guy. He wasn't to that same talent level, but he was expected to be because he was considered okay. We got him, and it didn't work, and the fan base was, and he had a huge fumble in the game, and it just was not pretty. The fan base really got upset. Kind of sealed the deal, I think, for one of the coaches. It just didn't work out. But it's tough when you have this. You can look at a team and you say, man, if we still had this quarterback or this running back or this guy, how much better would we have been? It's timing. Sometimes it just doesn't work your way. Didn't have an elite one. Truth, they had some decent ones. Yeah, not elite. Yeah, and they do have. I mean, Florida's loaded. There's 3 states, 4 states, 4 states that you don't have to leave the state unless you choose to. There's somebody elite that you want to get in one of those other states. Usually, you don't have to leave the state. That's Florida, Georgia, Texas, and California. You can recruit everything you need right there in that state. Well, they've got everything that you need. It's all there. Now, obviously, they go because there's somebody that they rank maybe a little higher, or they just really want. They've got a connection. But traditionally, I mean, those states you can recruit right there, and there's plenty to go around. And you take a state like Tennessee, that's not the case. They produce a lot of really good talent, but not to the level of those other ones. And it's population size, everything. Memphis area is a hotbed. Nashville's came on to big power teams like it, but Maryville and places like that. Yeah, I would add in Louisiana. Truth. Um, don't leave Texas out. Texas is pretty hot. Nevada. Okay, I didn't. Well, and they can, and some of that is they can play year round. Some of that, the camps are. I mean, it's just constant. They never take a break. Weather is never a problem. But yeah, but I will say this, about Louisiana. Sometimes it might be one position that they're not as strong as 2 or 3 other states, but certainly running backs, receivers, linemen, they usually don't have no problem. Sometimes they're going somewhere else to get the quarterback. Sometimes. Yes, and that's what I mean by those. Is you got now these kids are programmed to go through all these different expert tutelages and camps, and all they really are is getting them ready. Their sole purpose is to get them ready for college, and then while they're in college, to get them ready for the NFL. Truthfully, and because more colleges run pro style now, it's really all works together, and hence why the NFL likes to recruit. I mean, they'll take talent from anywhere, but let's face it, a quarterback is ahead of the game that has been playing in a pro style offense. Hey, Sugar Nice, 12:40 a.m. there. Happy weekend to you. Sorry, I just hadn't glanced over. But yeah, they are preparing them from crazy, even middle school. Middle school is already, because the high schools are so powerhouse now that they have to be ready in middle school they might sit one year, but sometimes those guys come in to a high school and they're playing day one. And so they're preparing them. But again, they're paying big money too to get some of these camps and stuff. But I find it controversial Because there's one thing I say about it. I think a kid deserves the right to be a kid. And if they want to play, if they want to do that, then fine. But if they don't push them. Let them be a kid. Sometimes these parents, they think they're going to have the next yes Peyton Manning or whoever they are, and they got dollar signs in their eyes and the fame and the fortune and all that stuff. And the kid says, "Hey, I just want to go be a kid. And I want to go do what the other kids are doing." And they burn them out. There's a lot of kids that burn out that never get there. And it happens in baseball too. Football and baseball are two of the biggest, but those baseball camps and the traveling circuits and everything, those are just as bad, if not worse, than the football camps and stuff. In fact, it might be worse. They truly never stop. They play all stars. They play for this team. They play for that team. They're constantly being recruited in to play in different things. And I knew a guy, his son was really good. And right in the middle of all this, he says, "I'm done." And the dad hits the roof. And he's like, What do you mean you're done? We're in this together. He says, "No, you were. I'm done. I've enjoyed it. I wanted to do it, but I don't want to do it anymore. I just want to be a teenager." And he was ticked. And sold all the equipment, was mad, caused some problems. That's your kid, man. Enjoy, that's his or her decision. And I was really truly a parent living out their life through their kid. And I did think they cared. I'm not saying they didn't care about the kid, but if you can't take that kind of news, you've kind of gotten yourself in the wrong way. Because no matter what skill level you have, if you don't want to do something, you'll never stay with it because your heart's not in it. So I am a little cautious about some of that's going on. Nothing like that. No, not where I live. They would have to be. I'm sure it is in Atlanta. There's a lot of camps and stuff in Atlanta, but that go on, but nothing like that I'm aware of. But it's certainly not around here. So saying this from the beginning, I believe these boarding schools like IMG Academy are basically ruining the public school sports system for football. Well, sure. All the best ones are pulled out, and that's where it's at. So sure. Yes, absolutely. Agree with everything you're saying. Yes. Well, I'm about 70 miles from here, right at 65 to 70 miles. I'm in the area a lot. I've traveled into the area a lot, but I'm very extreme northwest Georgia, but I'm not that far away. And not only those players, but like there's so many, but I'm trying to think of and then my brain just went blank. Um, oh my gosh, the running back out of Georgia that plays for Cleveland Browns, I just went blank. Uh, Also came out of that same hotbed right there. Absolutely, and there's others. A kicker. There's several players, but those are tremendous schools in that system, and it's a hotbed. It really, really is. Once you get to Dalton and you go all, and then you go all the way down through, yes, Cartersville, Calhoun, Rome, uh, just a ton of high schools there that produce a lot of college talent. And then you get in, there's a few in South Georgia that are more, uh, I would say, where your linemen come from. Some of the skill positions are definitely more up this way. Not always, but a lot of them. When you get down around Valdosta, but then you got Florida schools fighting for them. There's some really good talent that comes out of that area. And what's really cool in Georgia is they get to play in the big dome or the big, now it's the new stadium, but they get to play the Georgia high school championships there. And I've been able to see kids that were on teams up here in my area play on that field in championships, and then go on to the NFL. Some of them are still in the NFL, but lately I've not, the ones up here I haven't seen make it as much. Now there are some schools across the state line that are starting to have produced a little more, and we're starting to see a little bit of that. So, but that is definitely a hotbed, no doubt. Yeah, the travel league baseball. And so many feels that travel league baseball. Who's helping? Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. There are families, and I get it. These parents invest a lot, and I would just say you need to have an honest discussion with the boy or girl, as it may be, because I know people that have put second mortgages on their house, work second jobs to borrowed money, some way to invest in this, and it still is taking them to the limit. They do car washes and fundraisers and stuff with their friends, even still to afford this kind of thing. I don't know the cost, but I know it's very expensive. And I get it. Hey, they're committed to their kid. They're great parents, and I get that. I think I'm always on guard because I look back at what was the old Raiders quarterback that his dad just programmed him to be like this robo quarterback. I know his name. I cannot think this morning. And then he had a huge meltdown, got on drugs, and so you can do all that, and it just fall apart. He's a very talented kid, no doubt. Um, at one time, it was more like that. Um, that you do see that, but and we have had a lot of linemen come out of schools like uh, Dalton, a lot of offensive defense, especially offensive linemen. But yeah, if you get a little south, that's why I say if you get a little bit more south, you start getting in a bigger city like a Savannah or Valdosta or Albany. You're gonna get into some of those. The skill level talent will come back, but there's maybe a little bit around the Macon area, a little bit there, but but there's a lot of talent that comes out of the Cartersville, Rome, Calhoun, Bowden, that area. A lot of talent. And then you kind of go east west. You go out, Augusta and Lagrange. That whole area, Atlanta out is really for 100 miles in either direction, just about it, and maybe a little more than that is tremendous. And those schools, a lot of them have new fields, new. They're big. They're big schools. They have a big census. A lot of people go to school there, and they're running, like I said, more pro style offensive, and the scouts are there. Absolutely, they're there. Georgia, Alabama, and others land their helicopters there to go see these kids play on a Friday night. So it's the competition is incredible for their services. I don't think that I ever saw him play in college. Obviously, did as a pro a lot, but I don't think that I saw him play. I don't remember if I did, so I can't answer that question. He had a lot of talent. Unfortunately, he was sometimes on really bad teams, but he could do some. I saw one of the best passes I ever saw him throw was in the end zone for a touchdown, and that ball went between three defenders' hands, and the receiver was in the back of the end zone. It was like a laser, and I know every one of those defenders thought they were going to catch that ball for an interception. It was one of the most incredible passes I've ever seen, and he had a really quick release. But sometimes he wasn't the most mobile guy. Sometimes he would fumble or something. But Broski says golf and baseball, the sports you want your sons playing these days. Those are the paying sports without risking permanent life altering injury. That's a great. Well, and wouldn't you throw in? I mean, I don't know about the money part. It's according to where you're playing, but wouldn't you maybe say that soccer is getting that way? But yes, yeah, them golf guys have a good time, don't they? They wear the nice polo shirts, the little nice pants, some golf shoes. They might have to jump in the water every once in a while to get their ball, but yeah, it's and baseball, you know, there are some, but yeah, the lot of people don't want their kids. The CTE is scared a lot of parents they don't want their kids playing football. Soccer has become bigger in our area for sure. We have two really good teams in the region, and then Atlanta has a great, huge professional team. So I think the money is starting to come there as well. But that's a great point. And I don't know. Does golf get as intense with the travel teams and all that as baseball? Golf might be the way to go if you can control that little ball and become that really good golf player. Uh, hey, Bubba Watson's done it out of the University of Georgia. He's won some big ones. He's put on that green jacket. I like it. I've never was a golf player. I've played one time in my whole life. I played mini golf, goonie golf. I played one game in Dumas, Texas. I actually didn't do too bad. I have no drive, but I kept it straight. That's I don't think I see. That may be who I'm thinking of. It's so close. I'd have to see that. Was that the one that played for the Raiders? If it is, then that's the one. Daddy, this kid was raised from a baby to be an NFL quarterback. His daddy was driven for that. And hey, I feel bad for the dude. And he ended up living on a beach or something for a while. But I think he got his life back together in a pretty good way. I think they did a lot of documentaries on him, but I'm pretty sure that's who I was thinking of. But his daddy, from birth, you will be an NFL quarterback. And sometimes I don't know. You look at a guy with had a lot of talent. Some people say was never going to be a great NFL player. But the guy Texas A&M that lit up Alabama that year. Again, my brain is not. I'm tired. I think my brain is. Oh, that's the offensive lineman. I'm thinking of the quarterback. But yes, that is another great story as well. Yes, you're right. The name struck a bell. Soccer is growing for Americans. Was growing, but Americans aren't good at. That's a There's the one. Yes, thank you. My brain is not where Johnny Manziel. I had actually had the name 5 minutes ago. I was going to say it. Then I moved on and forgot the name. But Manziel, really big hands, mobile, but he liked to party, But he got paid, as they say. But he's doing some things again with he's been playing that. Not in a professional league or whatever it is, but that thing he was doing, maybe hope his life gets going really good. Yes, Johnny Football. I'm gonna tell you what. The rest of this guy's life, no matter what he did before or after, he can say that on a Saturday afternoon that big nostrils too. He can say that on a Saturday afternoon he wore out Alabama. Wore them out. Absolutely was a magician, and they had nothing for him. I'll always be his 15 minutes of fame. Even though the buildup in the NFL was big, it never worked out. That's going to be his highlight as an athlete. Was that day on a Saturday when he was not expected to beat Alabama, but wore them out. Alabama fans would blame their own team, but I never thought about that, broski. I just never thought about it. You're going to make me look now. Thanks. I kind of blame him for growing up with money. I don't think he was really taking football seriously, in my honest opinion. I just think he just did it for the media attention. Yeah, truth. Certainly not, at the level of others that were, forced in. Hey, you got to slot it in wherever you can, You just got to. My brain works that way. I think of certain things, and I enjoyed that day. I won't lie. You calling me out? It's true. That was a game that I wasn't going to watch because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna kill this kid. And then the highlights started coming on. I said, hey, they're up 7-0. I said, well, let me slide over there. Maybe they'll keep the lead for a while. Very entertaining game. I had no plans to watch that game. Hey, they've done it to us. I mean, people remember that stuff. Our low light, the one they never want to put up, and really, I think they made a bigger deal about it. Should have been, but when you lose, you set yourself up for it. And it was everybody around here wants to talk about Georgia's blackout game. We made a big deal about it. We're all black, you know, and everything went wrong and we lost. And I've had to hear about that for years. In fact, I don't want to hear about it no more. I'm sick of it. I just don't even care anymore. You know, we've wore black many times since and have played well. But it's like, oh, they're wearing the black again. Like it's some sort of a curse or something. No, it's not. We just didn't play good that night. Things went wrong. But yeah, it was Anthony, because I was reading reports around that time that Kevin Summerlin, his quarterback coach at Texas A&M, were saying that he wasn't really practicing, doing the film work to improve himself. Truth, I don't think the kid was look. He was the epitome of the backyard football player. He just go out. He wasn't looking at his playbook. He could care less. But he was better than anybody they had, so this guy got to play. And Summerlin had his problems too. Let's face it, the coach had a problem. We find out later just how bad the coach was running that organization. It's really amazing that it all came together because he was a massive failure. I mean, things he was doing within the administration, crazy. But you know what? It still counts. I mean, he got at one point there they were riding as high as anybody. That game for a while catapulted them into the national conversation even more so. And there was a lot of talk about. I mean, but then it just kind of came crashing down. I'm absolutely old enough to remember that. And my favorite Warren Moon story is me and Cook that was in the chat here a couple of nights ago. We saw it was still Houston. I miss Houston. I like the Houston Texans. I do. But I miss the Houston Oilers. I do. I've never liked that they left there. I love the colors. I love that. I'm sorry. I've never been a Tennessee Titan fan. I like it when they wear the old Oilers stuff. But anyway, that being said, I saw Warren Moon play against the Falcons at Fulton County Stadium when Deion Sanders was there and Andre Rison. And I want to tell you, we got up on them and Warren Moon was just bringing them back. And there was this huge storm that come up and some cracks of lightning and stuff. People were kind of scattering. It was a storm coming. And that game ended. They were headed in. Warren Moon had led them back, and they were going to beat us. And I saw this. I was looking. It was at the other end of the field, and I saw Deion flash. Warren got a little too greedy, and he didn't realize the speed of Deion Sanders. And he tried to throw an out for the touchdown, and Deion Sanders took that ball, started down the field the other way. When he got to the 50-yard line, I saw this live, he started high-stepping, that high step he did. And here's what's amazing. The defensive players or the offensive players that were trying to chase him down couldn't catch him. He high-stepped all the way to the end zone. I will never forget that moment. Game over. But I always had tremendous respect for Warren Moon, his talent. Very smooth passer. The ball looked so pretty coming out of his hand. You didn't see any wobble. It was just like a perfect spiral. And he kind of reminded me a little bit of Dan Marino, just different, you know. The way the ball came out is what I'm talking about. They could just all over the place. That's why he was so good in Canada. He was perfect for the run and shoot. what they called it back then. Perfect for that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And yeah, big respect for him. Great guy. Great athlete. There's been quite a few players go to the North. Playing Canadian Football League. I don't like all the rules, but back in the day, because I'm old enough to remember when ESPN only showed these crazy off sports. They didn't have all the contracts. They didn't have the money. But one thing they showed a lot of was the Canadian Football League. So I used to watch a lot of Canadian football. I haven't watched it much in years. But back in the day, that was on a lot. And I used to watch it. And it was pretty neat. Sometimes you'd see a former American football player playing up north. And I enjoyed it. Like I said, there was a couple of rules I didn't care for. But some of those rules are almost kind of been adopted now in the NFL. Oh, I got you. I'm sorry, man. I tell you, my brain's slow today. I was up late and I was kind of up early and I hadn't had my coffee. This is like the first cup. Believe it or not, here it is, 11 o'clock. This is my first cup of coffee. Cleaner release. That's really tough. And believe it or not, I'm going to say the cleaner release would be Moon. The quicker release would be Marino. Slightly. My opinion. It's debatable. I just don't think he had a really cool release on the ball. Moon did. Marino's was just fast. It was like a dart, but sometimes he had more wobble in his than Moon did. Yeah. The dude could it was almost a blur sometimes to watch him throw the ball. I had a friend at the time, he's deceased now. He was a huge Miami Dolphins fan. And we used to watch all these games. And so when we were always watching the Miami games. You know, they had all those really good receivers, running backs. I mean, it was a good offense. Defense sucked, except for the middle linebacker. The middle linebacker back there, what was his name? He's a Hall of Famer. Zach. What's his name? Zach. I swear my brain is a fog right now. I'm not that demented. I'm telling you. It's just my brain hurts this morning. But that was a great. Now as a person, I gotta say he's a douche. I'm sorry. I've never liked him he's condescending. We saw some of the things he's got, I do think he belongs, up there among the elites, even though he didn't win the championship. Yes, he did come out of Pittsburgh. I didn't know that was, I didn't remember that. I may have heard it. I may have forgotten it. But that was a huge get for Pittsburgh, no doubt. I did not remember that though. What about the big draft controversy, the first one, where John Elway absolutely refused to play for the Colts and demanded they not draft him or trade him or whatever? That was a big controversial deal at the time because the worst teams draft early to get better. And he says, I'm not playing for y'all. I'm not playing for y'all. And the rest is history. And that's now become, there are a handful of players that have pulled that same thing. I won't play for you. I will sit out. I won't play. Well, he was, what do you call it? I mean, he was legend. So you kind of get used to running in your bubble, in your circle. And when you're obviously the guys catered to and was at the time hand over fist were people trying to impress him and push it, promote him and help promote themselves. So, I guess in that way, maybe I don't, but at the same time, it's always tough and humans are failures. We are. were centers. And it's tough. It's tough because sometimes you don't think it's going to happen. It's like Chipper Jones for the Braves, the affair. And this guy's got his, road girlfriend. It's just crushing when you see stuff like that. You're like, no, but that's the way it goes. It's easy to get the big head. I don't go off the media. I go off what the quarterbacks that played with him say when Montana, Young, Elway, Kelly Marino. Yeah, that's true. I will tell you that among those quarterbacks, I'm not saying he's the best. I'm saying he's my favorite among them is Kelly. I have always liked, I'm a Falcons fan, but I've always liked Buffalo. I still like them. In fact, they got a Georgia player playing for them now. I like Kansas City. And I was rooting for Buffalo in those championships. And it just didn't work out. But I like Jim Kelly. Heck of a guy. Heck of a player. I was a fan of that classic team. Man, they were stacked. They were so stacked on that team. Great coach. It's like, man, how did you not win at least one Super Bowl? Unbelievable. I mean, they tore it up all season long and then would melt down in the Super Bowl. Wide right's one of them. It's been incredible. Who's the closest moment? Wow, wow, wow. Well, he's aged now. He don't have it anymore, but it would be. Here we go again. And he's kind of a dirtbag too. Rogers for the deep ball accuracy and can release the ball at any angle, but he's lost a little bit. But of the younger quarterbacks, I was trying to think of who I would select. I don't know that anybody comes that close. I think there's some coming along that will be. I'm just not sure because a lot of them are really good at managing the team and hitting big passes, but the deep passes, that's not been. You know who I might say he just can't stay healthy? That's Tua. Absolutely, Tua. But he just can't stay healthy. Well, he was in my brain, but he doesn't really do great on the deep passes. He really does. A lot of his passes that went deep, he hit Tyreek on a 20, and he took it for 60. He doesn't really throw a great deep pass all the time. He gets in trouble with that. He has a tremendous strength ability. He's a magician. I love the guy as a player. I'm not saying I love him individual, but I love him as a player. Yeah, truth. I would agree with that statement. Okay, more Drew Brees and Marino. I honestly don't think there's anybody right now that is right there, but there's some really good young talent that's coming on that might convince me they're that person, but they just haven't got to that level yet. You know, got to watch the body of work. So there's some young quarterbacks who could be that, but they've got to develop more. I would think. I would think. So yeah, I mean, some of his greatest wins were. Some people said he was just throwing it up, but if you're delivering that ball more than it's being intercepted, there's something more there than just that. He He's pulled out a lot of games by seeing his guy and saying, okay, I'm putting it right where you can get it. Let's go. 50, 60 yards down the field. Pretty dang impressive. Again, don't like his attitude. It's the lead singer syndrome. A lot of them just carry a lot of bravado. Comes with the territory, I guess. And they've been told, like you said, they're great their entire lives, and they can do no wrong. And they got away. They got out of a lot of trouble too. So I definitely could see that. Yeah, yeah. It's really weird to see him on the backside of his career now, and I mean extremely on the backside of it. I think it's about over. Um, he had to. I mean, and unfortunately, because he did have to wait, as massive as his numbers are, they could have even been bigger, but he set for those years behind Favre, and that was who knew. I think I would ask a better question. Not that those are not good questions. Don't get me wrong. Is what quarterback has not made it that you thought would is still not the starter on the teams that they play for that you thought had all this talent and it just hasn't materialized. There's a handful of quarterbacks out in the league, and I thought surely by now they would be starters. Just hasn't worked out. I thought Trey Lance was one of those. I thought he was going to be one of those that would be really good. Didn't happen. The guy that was the backup at Tennessee's moved on now. Tremendous athlete, but apparently he can't read a defense very good at all. That's hurt him, and he come from a school that I don't think prepared him as well as they could have for the NFL. There's a number of players out there that you're like, okay, I really thought they would be better. I thought they would start and do very well. Has not happened. Has not happened. NFL is a brutal place. Brutal, especially at that position. And you really have to be. I think the days of the clipboard carrier that makes $70 million for their career, only played in a handful of games. I kind of think that might be coming to an end because with injuries as they step up, these people are getting in games more. And because of the money, you can't afford to keep them on your bench anyway, so they go somewhere else because the money has jumped so much. But there are quarterbacks that played 15 years in the league and then maybe only started 5 games that whole time and made $70 million as a backup. That's crazy. But I applaud them. If you can do it, do it. I got no problem with it. I admire people for being able to capitalize on the situations that they're in, and who wouldn't? So I don't fault them. You play within the rules. It's like the max players in NBA. Those guys don't deserve the massive millions some of them they're getting, but they're by rule they have to give that money to somebody. They have to do it, and so they get to be a max contract as a basically the sixth man off the bench sometimes, and the money is crazy. I remember when Joe Johnson, I think it was, got that for the Hawks. I'm like, oh, that's a mistake. NBA has fought, the players have more power in the NBA than I think in any other sport. And certainly over the finances. And it really irks the football players. And I get it. They think they should get the same. But the problem is there's 53 men on a football team versus the 11, 15 or whatever it is that travel with the team in the NBA. And so there's more money. There's a lot of money to go around, and it's you can give more. But in the league, in their union contract, I think it's some crazy number. And I want to say it's either high 80s or low 90% of all revenue must go to the players. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. So that's why they have to do that. I mean, as a capitalist, I get you want to pay your players very well. They actually have it down to a percentage. I don't know if I agree with that. I think as an owner, I would want to have the power to say yay or nay, and that way, because you're paying players money they really honestly are not worthy of. But they fought for it and got it, and now the NFL players cry about it all the time. You know, especially the running backs. Well, we don't play that long in the league. We deserve to be paid max now. We want a full value. It's not going to happen. It is absolutely not going to happen. But the running back position is starting to come back around even more than it was. They were the value of the running back. What they really do now is the model is the value of a 2 or 3 member tandem. That way you don't wear out one guy. That's kind of what the model a lot of teams are taking. So you get 2 really really good running backs with a third member of it that is right there, but maybe not quite that level. And then you got players to rotate in and out, and that's the model that a lot of NFL teams are taking. And sometimes you're not having to pay them as much if you stay within that the next contract after the rookie contract. If you can stay with players like that, you'll never have to pay them to the level that somebody else will, unless they're just that great and you decide to keep them. You could always keep your contracts, which they're doing with a lot of players anyway. Teams that stay younger have more money because there's the rookie wage is they don't have to pay them as much, so they're able to spread out that money a little bit more. So that's the model that some teams take. Lower market teams. I mean, everybody gets the $130 something million. That's they're getting that money anyway from the TV contracts and stuff. So that's what that's usually what the league sets this how much money they can spend. So they get they divvy that up, and so you're looking at positions to keep them underneath that first big contract, or you trade them for players that will, and you constantly do that. Drives the fans crazy sometimes because you lose a lot of talent, but you do get you're able to keep your salary cap standard it without fighting too much. You have teams like Kansas City and stuff; they're always in a fight. Dallas, teams like that, to keep their talent because they have so many players that are, hey, pay me. I'm here now. So that's a lot of money. You're thinking of the percentage versus the salary cap that some of these players are making. And so you're having to take some that's just above the league minimum. And the league minimum is crazy now. Crazy from what it used to be. Heck, even sitting on the practice squad. Sitting on the practice squad is big money now. It used to be a pittance. Now it's actually a daggone good salary. And you can make a decent living just playing in that area, staying right in that practice squad. You'll get bounced around from team to team, and you may never make it, but it's a nice salary. It's a high manager salary, and you could you're traveling a lot, but you're just kept on the string, and you got to keep working out and trying to get better. So that you could change teams every year. Realistically, you could change teams every year. But if you're willing to travel a little bit and do that, you can make you could have a nice 8 to 10 year career, make some really good money, and be basically living your dreams to a point. And then with the hope that one day you might get there. If it doesn't happen, you've had a heck of experience and you still got a lot of money. And if you make the team, then you're gonna get a nice bump in pay anyway because that minimum is really high now. It's going to come a day, and I don't think we're that far away, where the league minimum is going to be $1 million in the NFL. I think it's about 600,000 now. But think about that. If I'm on the team, I'm guaranteed to make that. Yeah, hello, long snappers. A valued position, even if you were making the league minimum. That's a heck of a nice salary. It's crazy. But that's what happens. It keeps going up and keeps going up as the television revenue drives it. Which, broski, if you're still out there, that's why SEC is better. There's more money than you Big Ten. He may say I'm wrong, but I still think the SEC drives a little more money through their teams than Big Ten does. So, oh, we like to go at each other. It's going to be a fun year looking at college football. Don't forget, folks, on the sports show, starting this coming week, starting tomorrow, new week. And I think we're going to be on the air for the sports show, probably be Friday. I think it'll be Friday. We're going to start looking at NFL conference, team by team in each conference, getting ready for the season. And we're also going to choose an SEC team and an ACC and Big Ten. We'll kind of highlight those. We're going to expand the show just a little bit. I kind of think that show will be an hour and a half. We're kind of bumping not too far from that now. So we're going to start at least doing a cursory overview of those teams and looking at what they've lost, what they've gained, some key factors about each team, and kind of making predictions as we go through. So it'll be a lot of fun. Definitely put in the chat your thoughts about it as we get to those teams. I'll try to have it up in the show description which one we're going to look at, and I'll put that up ahead of time. I just got to verify when it is. So in Rumble, for sure, I can put up. So if you follow us on Rumble, if you're not, what's wrong with you? Get a Rumble app and follow us. You can still use your YouTubes and everything else, but sometimes the show I can do up to 3 shows that I can put out there. And so you can see what's coming. And if you'll get on our newsletter list, I've been putting the programming schedule in there as best as I can nail it down. Sometimes there's things that bounce a little bit. But send us an email at the email you see there at the bottom of the screen, and we'll put you on our newsletter list. 1 email a week. That's it. No more. My promise. Me and Rob have promised. No more than 1 email, a newsletter a week. We're done. We're not going to do you that way. We'll put everything in there that we want to say and just forward it out to friends you think might be interested in it and see if they want to join, because it helps us in our marketing. So, and there'll be some newsletter only information that comes out there first for those that have signed up at least a week or 2 ahead, sometimes more. There'll be news there that we haven't announced on screen yet. So send us an email. I've got 3 to load in this morning when I go off the air from last night. So it's already growing. So it's just getting it out there. And then, we might even highlight some of our followers, do a shout out to them. So we're easy. We're not hard. I do hope that we have a great weekend. I hope that we don't hear about bombings and all that. I mean, we're getting closer, to the 4th of July. Families getting together. I hope that we don't have to see that happen. We got the No Kings idiots out there marching around. I'm sorry, that's what they are. We don't have a king, we have a president. I'm sorry you feel that way. You had no problem with your leader was being strong in some areas. You thought that was great. But now that we're being strong in other areas that they weren't, you think they're a king. Go fly a kite. Well, you got the freedom to do it, but it's a whole lot of nothing. It really is a whole lot of nothing. But I'm looking forward to having a great Saturday. I do work today, and I'll still be communicating here and there online. Post a lot, share a lot. I got to upload a little bit on the MP3 side, and we'll be active throughout. Don't forget Usually, we don't do a Saturday night live because I'm working. So on Saturday night, slide over to Rumble and watch Killer Carl's program. It usually comes up about 8 bells, 8:30, somewhere in there. And they're straight shooters. They throw it right out there, real nice and fat for you. It's a big pitch. How big a boy are you? Can you handle it? But true. Killer Carl, friends with him, honored to have him support us and try to help us. But I'm usually in the chat for the Saturday night show, and every once in a while I get to call to be on the show. But definitely give them a follow. Huge following. Occasionally he doesn't have it, but usually the Saturday night show, and it's kind of it doesn't usually have a topic. It's a free for all. They'll talk about whatever. It usually has 4 or 5 guests up. I'm telling you, they're bringing it. And the coffee that I'm drinking today, he's going to advertise in his show. We don't have our coffee up. We will soon. It's getting worked on, but right now I'm drinking 55coffee.com, and it is excellento. If I could work with them on what we want to do, I would work with them, but it's just not that way. But I love their coffee. They're great people. And I'll still keep some around, but we're gonna be obviously keeping our coffee in stock. My wife's already saying, I'm going to order. Just let me know when. We support those things that we have and we believe in. Sugar, how's things out there? And I probably went to bed by now. It's after 1 o'clock now. Down under. Australia. Good to see you. Appreciate all of you being there. Got a nice little crowd in here this morning from different streams. Thank you for supporting the Southern Fried Podcast. We have a lot of programming. We have a lot of folks that watch a lot of or most of our programming. Some only watch for one thing or two things, but we have those that watch about everything we do. We appreciate you. We do a lot of different kinds of programming. Over the weekend, tomorrow I'll have 2 shows for sure. One will be the Sunday morning in the Word. That's an early morning. Give you a little food for the soul. And tomorrow night is News Desk. We'll be diving back into the latest on the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, whatever. People have kind of got away from the Russia, Ukraine story. Don't lose sight of that with what's going on. That's there's a lot happening there still, and definitely need to stay on top of that. Don't think I'm going to be able to slide a third show in. I got to go pick my granddaughter up, see the grandboy, and be doing some things that afternoon. But 2 shows for sure. Maybe might be a third. Then on Monday morning, we get back at it. The Cornbread Man morning show on Podbean. That's exclusive to Podbean. It will be loaded everywhere else, for the audio sites for sure. But live, it's Podbean only. That's an exclusive. The Cornbread Man. It's a very quick hitting 30-minute show in the mornings. Usually around 5 to 5:15 for 30 minutes. We hit the news hard. 3 topics, no more. We hit it really hard. And then me and Rob on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays has the SFP morning show. Tuesdays and Thursdays is the Patriot morning show with me. But we are live with you. Every once in a while we miss a show, but it's usually Monday through Friday. And then we're trying to be consistent on the evening shows. I'm just trying to work on the timing for the MAGA report, but we have so many night shows. I'm trying to work in and around that and bring consistency to that. Maybe have to do a scheduling tweak here soon on a couple of things, just to make sure we can get all that fit in. But we are excited. And look soon, I've been saying it for weeks now, but I'm really close to wanting to get it done. I'm gonna have a couple of documentary type programs up. We're gonna look at some things in history and kind of look up through the years. One of those I'm gonna look at is the threats to the president, and I want to dive in really on the Ronald Reagan assassination attempt. I'm going to be looking at that, looking at some old news bites, pictures, audio, and video and stuff of that time. That'll be a special that's coming soon. But we're going to dive into history a little bit more. That's a show that's not really been done yet, but it's going to be. So I like it. I love history. We'll look back and talk about wars and battles and people. I love biographies. Kind of look at people. Those things are coming, and it'll be sports included. Sports has history, so We'll look at really big events and the ramification of those things, what happened around those. So if you have suggestions you'd like to see covered, send it to me. If you see the email, I'll be glad to do that. I'm going to enjoy another cup of coffee. I'm going to get off here for a few minutes. I might be back. I'm not sure yet. Just depends what's going on. I do have to go to work. I just want to get on and chat for a little bit. Thank you for everyone being here. And I enjoyed the sports talk this morning. I don't usually do that on Saturday, but like I said, this is just an open chat. If I'm able to come back for about 45 minutes, I want to drive straight into Middle East, and we're going to look at that and see some of the news. But we'll be back with you in I think I will. I just need to take a quick break, handle a couple things, and then we'll be back. Hope you like this new song. This is straight. That's the first time it's been played. Was today, and so trying to remember where I put it. It's there somewhere. It is Southern Top. We'll be back. Take care.
It's a complicated life for the southern people. Like a small town, nothing's real. Mama's still doing wrong. Don't tell the preacher. Nothing really changes except the weather. If you can't